We are on. Okay. We will begin the annual organizational meeting of Tuesday, April 26, 2022. The organizational meeting of the Milwaukee Board of School Directors will please come to order. Before we begin tonight's meeting, we have a short announcement regarding interpretation services for the Spanish-speaking members of our audience.
Buenas tardes. Esta junta escolar se transmitirá en español para aquellas personas que lo necesiten. Para escuchar esta junta en español, por favor marque el siguiente número: 312-626-6799. Repito, marque el número 312-626-6799 y ponga el número de identificación o código de clave que es 608-130-5362. Repito, ponga el número de identificación o código para esta junta que es 608-130-5362. Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now take the roll. When your name is called, please state present. Director Carr.
Present.
Director Garcia.
Present.
Director Gokul Gandhi is excused for tonight. Director Herndon.
Present.
Director Leonard.
Present.
Director O'Halloran.
Present.
Director Simpson.
Present.
Director Taylor.
Present.
And Director Peterson.
Present.
We have 8 members present. Pursuant to Board Rule 1.06, this meeting is being conducted virtually. Board members may be participating in person from the Central Services Building. In order to allow as much public access and participation as possible, this meeting is being broadcast via live stream on the MPS website and on the MPS YouTube stream, the links to which may be found on the MPS website on the broadcast page. We will now recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Members, please mute your devices. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, the board will elect a temporary presiding officer. Are there any nominations? Are there any nominations for Chair Pro Tem?
I nominate Director Taylor.
If there is no objection, Director Taylor will serve as Chair Pro Tem. The script was emailed to all board members, so if you could pull that up, we will continue.
Yeah, Madam Clerk, I'm trying to pull it up. I'm sorry, because I know we ain't supposed to be on dead air, but it's taking a minute.
Okay. Would you like me to
Yes.
continue?
I would love for you to continue because I know we are live.
Thank you so much. The next order of business for Director Taylor is the election of a president to serve for the ensuing year. As the board clerk calls the roll, please indicate your selection for president. 5 votes are required for election. When I call your name, please state your selection. Director Carr.
Director Taylor.
Director Garcia,
Director Peterson,
Director Herndon,
Director Peterson,
Director Leonard,
Director Peterson,
Director O'Halloran,
Director Peterson,
Director Peterson,
Director Peterson,
Director Simpson,
Director Peterson,
Director Taylor,
Director Peterson,
Director Peterson, having received the majority of the votes, will be will serve as the president for the ensuing year. At this time,
yes.
Director Peterson will take the chair.
The next order of business is a designation. Whoops, just a minute. Is the election of the vice president to serve the ensuing year. As a board clerk calls a roll, please indicate your selection for vice president. 5 votes are required for election.
Director Carr,
Director Taylor,
Director Garcia,
Director Taylor,
Director Gokul Gandhi is excused. Director Herndon,
Director Taylor,
Director Leonard,
Director Taylor,
Director O'Halloran,
Director Taylor,
Director President Peterson,
Director Taylor,
Director Simpson,
Director Taylor,
Director Taylor.
Director Taylor,
Having received the majority of the votes, Director Taylor will serve as vice president for the ensuing year.
Director Taylor, would you like to make any comment?
I would just like to say thank you to my colleagues. Definitely, there's so much work to be done. We've done some things over the last 2 years, and a lot of it was for COVID. I am hoping this year we can continue those safety protocols, but to kind of dig in deeper to make sure we get the very best for our young people.
Thank you very much. And I'll echo that statement. I know we have a lot ahead of us as well, whether it's a strategic plan or many of the other initiatives that we have going. I look forward to working with Director Taylor and all of you to accomplish what's best for our children and youth in MPS. The next order of business is a designation of a board clerk. Wisconsin statute section 11910 requires that the board annually designate a board clerk. In January 2021, the board designated Dr. Jacqueline Mann as board clerk. If there is no objection, Dr. Mann will continue to serve as a board clerk. Seeing no objection, congratulations, Dr. Mann.
Thank you so much. And thank you all for your confidence in continuing my service as the board clerk for the best public school system in the state of Wisconsin, Milwaukee Public Schools.
Yes, thank you. At this time, it's necessary to appoint board members to various boards and committees on which the Milwaukee Board of School Directors is represented. And I'm going to, help me out here, but I will, I believe that the people who are on the boards that I'm going to list want to continue. The first one is appointment to the library board under Wisconsin statute section 43.541 AM. The president is an ex officio member of the library board. However, I would like to ask Director Simpson if she will continue being that member of the library board.
thank you so much. I'd be very happy to continue in that role.
Great. The appointment of the board's representative to the Milwaukee Education Partnership. I would like to take that position as I have in the past. If there's, I will let you know that the Milwaukee, excuse me, the Milwaukee Education Partnership is a council of UWM and MITC, and we work together with labor, business, and government and university foundation and parent and community groups. Okay, and that will be me. Moving on.
Mr. President, so you will be serving as the delegate to the MEP, Milwaukee
Yes.
Education Partnership.
Yes,
And as you have delegated your authority as the ex officio member to the library board, we will bring that item as stated by statute and board rule for next month for the board to elect.
okay,
Formally, Director Simpson.
okay. Let's see, do we need a motion for me being on the MEP or not?
Mr. President, members of the board, you are the ex officio member, so that would not need a motion.
Okay. Then we need, we'd like the next item is a continuation of the board's delegate to the Wisconsin Association of Schools Boards, WASB. At its regular meeting on December 17th, 2020, the board elected Director Sequana Taylor as a delegate for the WASB Region 14 for the ensuing 3-year term. As this is a 3-year term, Director Taylor will continue as a board's delegate to WASB until WASB gives notice of an upcoming election. The next appointment is to CISA number 1, Wisconsin statutes sections 116.021A provides that annually on or after the 4th Monday in the April, the school board of each district in the agency shall appoint one of its members as its representative for the purpose of determining the composition of the Board of Control. Liaison to CISA 1 for the 2021 board year was Director Herndon. I was asked if Director Herndon would like to continue.
Yes, Mr. President, I'm willing to continue.
Okay, I mean, if there's any other nominees, we could do a vote, but I know, well, Director Herndon, I know, has been busy going to a lot of meetings for the CISA in addition to all of our meetings. So thank you very much. Do we need to vote on that, Madam Secretary?
Mr. Chair, as you only have one nomination, you do not, actually, you do need to vote on this for the CISA board, yes.
Okay,
So the nomination would be Director Herndon, and Mr. Chair, that would be your motion, and you
Yes.
would need a second.
could I have a second? Director O'Halloran. Madam
I
Secretary,
second, in
please.
case you need me to say it. I
Thank
second.
you. Didn't mean to interrupt. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Director Peterson's motion to appoint Director Herndon as the board's delegate to the CISA number 1 board. Director Carr,
Aye.
Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Herndon,
Aye.
Director Leonard,
Aye.
Director O'Halloran,
Aye.
Director Peterson,
Aye.
Director Simpson,
Aye.
and Vice President Taylor.
Aye.
And President Peterson.
Aye.
That's 9 ayes, the motion passes. Director Peterson and President Peterson are the same person.
So you think. The next appointment is to the MPS Head Start Policy Council. The liaison to the MPS Head Start Policy Council for the 2021 and 2022 board year was Director Simpson. Director Simpson, if you wish to continue, you can, or we can see if anybody else is interested. Your choice.
Well, I'd be happy to continue. I mean, unless someone else wants to, I'm happy to have that role for Head Start.
Any other person interested? Okay, well, I know you're well qualified given your early childhood experience. So do we need a motion and a vote on that, Madam Secretary?
Mr. Chair, there would need to be a motion and a vote. Yes.
Okay, I move that Director Seamson continue her role as the MPS Head Start Policy Council representative. Is there a
Second,
second? Second by Director Herndon. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
President Peterson's motion, seconded by Director Herndon, that Director Seamson serve as the delegate to the MPS Head Start Policy Council. Director Carr,
Aye.
Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Herndon. I heard her say aye in the room.
Aye.
There we go. Director Leonard,
Aye.
Director O'Halloran,
Aye.
Director Seamson,
Aye.
Vice President Taylor,
Aye.
and President Peterson.
Aye.
That's 9 ayes. The motion passes.
The next appointment is to the Title I District Advisory Council. The 2021-22 liaison was Director Leonard. Director Leonard, are you interested in continuing that responsibility?
I most certainly am. I'd appreciate that. We're doing a lot of work there, and I just thoroughly enjoy it. So yes.
Okay, is there anyone else who wishes to be considered for that position? Seeing none, I will move that Director Leonard continue that liaison position. Do we have a second?
Second.
I'll second. Or
Director Garcia, I saw first. So Director Garcia seconded it. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
On Director Peterson's motion, seconded by Director Garcia, to appoint Director Leonard to serve as the board's delegate to the Title I District Advisory Council. Director Carr,
Aye.
Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Herndon,
aye.
Director Leonard,
Aye.
Director O'Halloran,
Aye.
Director Seamson,
aye.
Vice President Taylor,
Aye.
and President Peterson.
Aye.
That's 8 ayes. The motion passes.
Madam Secretary, is there any unfinished business?
Yes, Mr. President, there is one item of unfinished business. This item is action on the disposition of unfinished business pending before the board and its committees at the close of business on April 21, 2022. The attachment to this item includes a list of unfinished business pending before the board and its standing and special committees. The list is presented pursuant to the provisions of Wisconsin State Statutes 119.01 Parent 1, which reads in part, at its annual meeting, after the election of the new board president, the clerk of the board shall report to the board its items of business pending before the board. At this time, I would like to draw your attention to item number 9 on the list, which is Resolution 1718R-018. The directives within the resolution call for the administration and the Office of Board Governance to determine the district's needs for new school programs and to bring recommendations to the board. The resolution was considered in March of 2018, at which time the board deferred action on the resolution until a charter school work session could be held. The work session has been held. In addition, 2 more recent resolutions have been adopted by the board that also call for evaluation and recommendations relative to the district's chartering program and process. And that's Resolution 2122R-001 by Director O'Halloran and 2122R-007 by Director Leonard. Given that the work is already underway and that the 2 more recent resolutions are more specific in scope, the Office of Board Governance is recommending that the board, 1, place Resolution 1718R-18 on file, and 2, determine how it wishes to proceed with the remaining of the items on the pending item list. Mr. President, if there are no objections, we're asking that the board place resolution 1718 R-18 on file. Your microphone is muted, sir.
Director O'Halloran, do you object?
No, I don't object. I was just wondering if you wanted us to consider that in two separate motions, or if you needed a motion to accept the recommendation and then open it up for discussion on whatever other items to how to proceed. So I was just wondering if it was one or two separate motions that you were looking for.
For the first item, the motion, if there's no objection, that item would be placed on file. And then the board could consider the rest of the items on the agenda, as the board president will explain.
Okay, so seeing no objection, that item will be on file. And at
So
this time,
noted.
okay, at this time, board members may ask for items on this list to be referred back to committee. Any items not set aside will then be placed on on file. The board members need to take a few minutes to review this list. I need to take a few minutes to reserve the list. So if we can,
Would you like to call a 5-minute recess?
Yes, I would like that because I don't
Okay,
want us
actually,
to
let's
rush.
make it 7 minutes and then we will come back at 6:05.
Okay, yeah, I don't want us to be rushed in doing that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Please mute your devices.
We're coming back at 6:05, which is 1 minute from now.
Mr. President, we will
Yes.
begin the login process to go back on.
Very good.
Online. We're logging into the YouTube first.
YouTube's all good, Dr. Mann.
Thank you so much. We will log into the radio station. Check to see if the line is on. Mr. Chair, you are on.
Thank you. And now I'm going to ask directors if they wish to separate, separate consideration of any of the pending items on the attached lists. If so, please just state the number of each item that you would wish to hold over. Director Taylor.
Thank you. Number 1, 7, 8, and 11.
And I would just repeat that back. Number 1, number 7, number 8, and number 11.
Yes.
Thank you.
Director Simpson. You're muted, Director Simpson.
I'm so sorry. Number 5, 6, 10, 12, and 13.
So noted, that would be numbers 5, number 6, 10, 12, and 13.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other directors who wish to make a suggestion? Director O'Halloran.
Number 12 and number 2.
Okay, and I think number 12 was already mentioned, but number 2 wasn't. So those will both be on there. Any others? Okay, so the items, these items will be referred back to committees as indicated. The chair will now entertain a motion to place the balance of the items on file, those that were not suggested. Dr. Simpson.
I'm sorry, could I just ask, would it be okay if Dr. Mann just read through those, all of
Sure.
the numbers once more, just to make sure?
Yeah, absolutely. Good idea.
Thank
Dr. Mann.
you.
Okay, I'm just making sure that I capture them all. What I have as being set aside for consideration in the ensuing board year to be added to the board's docket are numbers 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, and 13.
That's what I got too. Okay, so now a motion to place the balance of items on file. Director Simpson.
I move that we place the balance of the items on file.
And the second.
I'll second it.
Director Taylor seconds it. Will the secretary please call the roll?
On Director Simpson's motion to place the balance of the items on file that were not read into the record, seconded by Director Taylor. Director Carr.
Aye.
Director Garcia.
Aye.
Director Herndon. Director Herndon.
I think she is offline. Oh, no,
Okay.
no, I
We will
see her.
check
I
on-
see her name.
Right, and she's in the room next door. We will check to see if Director Herndon is at her place. Maybe the microphone is stuck. We will continue the row. Director Leonard,
Aye.
Director Herndon,
Aye. Aye.
Director O'Halloran,
Aye.
Director Simpson,
Aye.
Vice President Taylor,
Aye.
and President Peterson.
Aye.
That's 8 ayes. The motion passes.
Madam Secretary, are there any items of new business?
Yes, Mr. President. We do have 2 items of new business. And the first one is the transmittal of the tentative 2022-23 board calendars. The tentative calendar of the meetings of the board and its committees for the 22-23 year is included in the attachment to this item. The calendar has been prepared in accordance with Wisconsin statute section 119.10 and board rules 1.01, 1.02, and 2.02. The recommendation is that the board determine what action it wishes to take, if any, it wishes to take regarding these tentative board calendars for the 22-23 board year.
And I'll just add that we did put in board retreats on the calendar for every other month. And so we can add more if you wish, or, you know, as we go through the year, but we wanted to make those, alert you all to those so you can put them in your calendar, as well as the meetings that you might attend.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, we did work with the administration to ensure that the dates were feasible for the committee meetings and moving forward relative to the retreats and other items that are on the calendar.
And I just point out that the May calendar, as you can expect, is quite full. And there's actually, correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Mann, that there is one meeting on Monday night on the 23rd.
Mr. Chair, that is
Yes.
correct. The board took action last board year to ensure that there would be an additional strategic planning and budget meeting placed on the agenda so that board members would have an opportunity to address the second round of budget amendments rather than having budget amendments on the floor, and that they would be published. And so that required the board to have a meeting not less than 2 days before the regular full board meeting where the budget is adopted. And you will see that that meeting has been added to the 24th as the regular board meeting is the 26th, which, and given that the administration needs time for contracts and for appointments to hit the AFP list, we talked, and the 23rd appeared to be the best date for the Accountability, Finance, and Personnel Committee.
Yes. Thank you very much. Okay, is there any discussion? What's the pleasure of the board in regard to this item? Dr. Simpson.
I move that we adopt the proposed to us for the 2022-2023 school year.
Okay, is there a second? Director O'Halloran?
I second.
Director Taylor, did you want to comment?
Yeah, I just had a question as I was looking. I think my
Sure.
hand is, and it's fine. And not saying I would be on pace. I was just looking, but I think it should be okay because it's in the evening. I was just seeing, I know the first day of traditional school is usually a really busy day. I also saw that we had a meeting that day. I think it was just more in reference of me, but I'm usually always thinking that first school traditional day, even for educators and board members, that's usually a very busy day. But yeah, we've worked through several of them, so it's fine. I just seen it was highlighted on my, I think I highlighted it for myself.
I see, yes.
Yeah.
And that's a reminder. I would like to have board members give me a list of priority of committees that you want to be on. I know many of you probably want to stay on the committee you are on, but you might not. And so if people could do that, today is Tuesday, by the end of day Thursday, then I'll let people know your committee assignments. Director O'Halloran.
So I seconded it just so that we could continue with the conversation, but I did have a question. I mean, in regards to Director Taylor's point, I do see that that second week is open in September or whatever, not the second full week, I guess we'll call it. Is there, would it be feasible to move that from the 6th to the 13th? My other question was as it pertains to May. Is there a board rule or some reason why we would not be able to take, I guess we always do it on the last Thursday. Okay.
And that is state statute.
Okay. Yeah. Just hoping. I'm like, well, there's that 31st, you know, okay. That's going to be a tight week, but then for the other one, would it be possible to consider moving that, or is that a Herculean effort that is just silly to even consider?
Mr. Chair, members of the board,
Right.
the Office of Board Governance is in agreement to moving the meeting to from Tuesday, September 6th to Tuesday, September 13th, if that is okay with the administration.
Administration.
President Peterson and members of the board, that is perfectly okay with the administration.
Okay, if there's are there any objections to making that move? Seeing no objections, let's consider that as an amended part of the of what we're going to be voting on momentarily. Okay, any other conversation, discussion you wish to have? Okay, and keep in mind the LRP committee will meet as needed, and the strategic planning and budget committee may also meet as needed. So we're in for a ride. Seeing no other discussion, could the secretary please call the roll?
On Director Simpson's motion, seconded by Director O'Halloran, to adopt the 22-23 board calendars with the change of the moving of the PACE committee meeting from September 6th to September 13th, 2022. So the calendars will be approved as attached to this item with the one change as noted. And the motion is read into the record. Director Carr?
Aye.
Director Garcia?
Aye.
Director Herndon?
Aye.
Director Leonard?
Aye.
Director O'Halloran?
Aye.
Director Simpson?
Aye.
Vice President Taylor?
Aye.
And President Peterson?
Aye.
That's 8 ayes. The motion passes.
Madam Secretary, what is the next item of new business?
Item 2 is the annual review of an action on board compensation. At its meeting on November 28th of 2000, the board set salaries of $18,121 per year for board members and $18,667 per year for the board president. The board's action of November 28, 2000 also contained a provision that the board's compensation be reviewed annually at the organizational meeting. The compensation currently remains at the level set by the November 28, 2000 board action. The recommendation is that the board determine how it wishes to proceed with this item.
What is the pleasure of the board regarding this item? Director O'Halloran.
Thank you. Last year I did ask for some information to be brought back to be considered, because I do think after 20 years. I don't think it is absurd to consider increasing board wages. So I do appreciate that the board clerk put together what is attached, some different options. And while I'm certainly not prepared to make a motion stating that we should increase it, I think it's quite interesting that if it had kept pace with inflation, just for instance, the wages would have increased $10,000 or more. So I don't know if any other board members have had a chance to review this. I'm not sure what the answer is, but I certainly think given that we're adding board retreats, we're going to be doing the strategic plan this year. I myself have paid up to have babysitters come to watch my kids while I attend meetings. I think there's a lot of considerations to think, that would recommend increasing. So I just wanted to open it up for conversation if that would be acceptable to the chair.
Absolutely. Yes.
Thanks.
Yep. No, this is time to discuss it. I appreciate you raising that, Director O'Halloran. I see that Director Leonard wants to make a comment, and other people are certainly welcome to do so as well. Director Leonard, and then Taylor and Herndon. Go ahead, Director Leonard.
So for all of those board directors that are working a full-time job, yes, I really have to agree that for what we're getting paid and for the amount of work that should be involved with this job, and I believe for most of us it is by far. I would agree with Director O'Halloran. To say that it's not keeping with pace with inflation would be an understatement after 20 years. So yeah, I just think it's something we should consider. I also believe that it would be to our advantage as a board to increase that pay to make it a little bit more, so to incentivize our own position, I guess. I'll say it that way. Thank you.
Okay, Director Taylor.
Thank you, Chair Peterson. I wanted to say thank you to Director O'Halloran too. And why I want to say thank you, because I know she didn't do it because she wanted a raise or she thought someone can get more money. When I looked at the dates myself, and I thought since 2000, and I think how we advocately talk on this board about moving forward in the fight for 15, especially when we talk about low wage workers, and to see that this has been the same way since 2000. This is nearly 2 decades. So I do think it's something that we can look at and not necessarily think about too as we move forward in the future. I don't know the longevity of anybody else on this board, but I also think, what are we going to do for those individuals that's going to come after us? And how do we set precedent as well too, that they can do this work and not be so bombarded down as well too, maybe working 2 or 3 jobs like some of the lower age workers within MPS. So I do think this is something that we should look at. And I think of it more as us paving the way for the future for those to come after us. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Herndon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For me, I look at those that are younger coming on into this, hopefully. And the one thing that must be known and considered is that if you're doing your due diligence on this board, it is a full-time plus job because of all the research that has to be done, all of the board meeting, yes, but those aren't the only meetings that we must attend. We have the community meetings, we have the meetings at the schools, as well as all of the fixed meetings in our schedule from month to month, and those that are thrown in for good measure, such as LRP and strategic planning and all the rest. So I too agree that there should be a raise. I'm sure it won't be family supporting amount that we're looking at, because part of it, I look at it as my contribution to the community. But I just like for the public at large to understand that if an individual is on this board, and if they're doing what they should be doing with, especially this particular group of people who have ran this board as board directors through COVID, was a massive, massive undertaking. So yes, I'm in agreement that we should look at an increase.
Okay. Is there anyone else who wishes to comment in general? And then I'm going to ask if anybody has a specific recommendation. And Director O'Halloran.
I did want to, I wasn't sure if we were able to pull. I was curious to see if we had any information about how the legislature has increased their pay since 2000. I do know that until recently, I had 76,000 constituents, which is larger than most assembly districts and state Senate districts. So I'm certainly not suggesting that we take our pay up to what they make. I think they make 55. So I'm certainly not suggesting that, but I was wondering if we had any information about how their salary had changed since 2000.
Does anybody have that information?
And if not, that's fine.
I do not.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Dr. Mann.
I do have some information here that their salary is $55,141. They do not receive benefits.
Okay.
And it increased by 4% from the 52,999 rate. They receive an additional stipend of $25 a month.
Okay. Director Carr and then Director Seamson.
I will say, I definitely agree that this is a full-time job. It is very taxing and it's very thankless. But I also have to be considerate of the salaries that our staff are making in the district, and to vote to increase would almost put us in the same category as those who show up every day from, say, 8 to 4, 7 to 3, or 9 to 5. We would essentially be making some of the same amounts or around that amount. I don't think that it's fair to taxpayers, given where we are in the district, given the performance metrics and what we're producing. I don't think that it's fair to submit or vote for a raise at this point, not until the district performance metrics change or increase. So that's just my opinion. If we do vote on it and decide to proceed with the raise, I would suggest that we make it applicable for next term to give us some time to do more and, I don't know, address the declining enrollment, the teacher shortage, and everything else that we're facing at this point. But I don't think it's fair right now to take more money from taxpayers when we have individuals in our district that are working their behinds off and that are making low salaries, but showing up all day, every day.
Thank you. Director Seamson.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I understand, there's sort of this balance between, like, this is, I think people look at school board more as a public service. And I think most of us, all of us, I'm sure, look at it that way as well. So, right, it's sort of just this fine line between, offering people who are interested in this position, like Director Herndon said, in the future, some compensation, but also kind of that acknowledgement that this is, a service that I think most of us take on just to help our communities and our schools. So I don't have a good answer, but just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Director Carr, did you want to say something again? Go ahead.
I have a question for clarification. Is it, if I am understanding this correctly, we are able to vote on this annually? Is that correct, Madam Chair?
Mr. Chair, members of the board, Director Carr, that is correct. There was a board resolution that passed that requires the board to consider its salary every year.
So once we get through this election cycle, we can then re-entertain or entertain this again next year around this time?
We actually have to do it annually,
Okay,
so we will do it annually.
thank you.
I mean, one thought just to throw out in terms of we could consider raising the salary by the cost of living raise that we gave everybody to in the district, the 4.7. None of us received a step salary or longevity. It's just a way sort of clear cut. Everybody else got that. I'm not suggesting we do that, but that's one number that has made some sense to me. You know, it's a 5%, less than 5%. What's the pleasure of the board? Director O'Halloran.
I would make that motion in line with the adjustments that the rest of the staff will be receiving as well. And I did want to just point out that I did ask, have all of the wages just in comparison to 20 years ago. I asked if we could get that sort of information if everybody had received some sort of increase in the past 2 decades, and it does appear so, although it doesn't appear that it has been the same trend throughout. But I think at least considering of the 4.7 that we're doing for the rest of the staff, I think that is fair.
So that's a motion. Is there a second to that motion? Director Herndon.
Second.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor. Would anybody like to have further discussion? Director Carr, I see your hand is up. Okay. Any other person wish to make a comment? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, could you call the roll?
On Director O'Halloran's motion, seconded by Director Herndon, which moves to raise the board salary by 4.7%. Director Carr.
No.
Director Garcia.
Aye.
Director Herndon.
Aye.
Director Leonard.
Aye.
Director O'Halloran.
Aye.
Director Simpson.
Aye.
Vice President Taylor.
Aye.
And President Peterson.
Aye.
That's 7 ayes, 1 no. The motion passes.
Madam Secretary, are there any communications or petitions for the referral to committee?
Mr. President, we have no communications for referral.
And Madam Secretary, how about, are there any resolutions for referral to committee?
We have no resolutions for referral.
Okay, Madam Secretary, is there any further business on our agenda?
Mr. President, that was the last item on tonight's agenda.
There being no further business before the board, this meeting is adjourned. I thank all of you for your service, including the board and the staff of our Milwaukee Public Schools. Thank you very much.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Have a good night.
Good night.